No, DeMarcus March is going to talk. Ryan, how are you? It is championship week. As we are just counting down the days, we are 4 days away from the BIC and the Insomniacs to see who will win the trophy. And more importantly, for some people, who will take home the racks of $25,000. Hello again, it's Double A and Double D coming to you again. And thank you, Travis. Good evening, and thank you. Will you be at the stadium watching the game in person, or do you have to work that Sunday? By the way, how are you?
Have you ever invited Travis onto the show before?
We have not. We should.
Travis, if you're around tonight, I would love to get you to come on after we are done with my guest.
He says most likely he will be at the game on Sunday, which will take place at Asbury Park Stadium in Asbury Park, New Jersey. Throw-off time is scheduled for 4 p.m. Eastern, 1 p.m. Pacific on ASNFL.tv. And from the list of things, it'll be a special pregame show where they're going to announce their 10th anniversary all-time team. So
the all-decade
all-decade
team.
team.
Not all-time,
well,
all-decade.
All-decade. It is.
And while we're on the subject, let's pause for a second because this is the 94th episode.
Yes, it is.
And we did not pay homage to your 94 gang, Bang Bang Niner gang, who won the NFL championship Super Bowl that year with Hall of Famer also wearing 94, Charles Haley.
No, Charles Haley was a Cowboy.
But
Dana Stubblefield wore 94.
That year. My point is,
yes, he is.
Charles Haley was a Niner.
Yes, he was.
And he wore 94. And the Niners happened to win the Super Bowl in 94.
Oh, that's right. So Travis came on after you got off one episode.
Pause. Was he any good?
Yes, he was actually. Yeah, he really gave us some good insight on what exactly happened with when the Nightcrawlers didn't have their full roster. Gave no excuses and gave some really good analysis. So we might need to have him on again. But we do have a guest. As mentioned in the description, Will Franklin will be joining us momentarily to talk about championship weekend and among other things.
There's a description?
Yes. A description of the episode.
Awesome.
But
I didn't know we were that cool.
Well, we try to be. We try to, be, what's the word I'm looking for? Innovative. There we go.
Innovative.
That's
is a good word.
That's the word I'm looking for.
So, Travis, you're always a test case. How's our sound? Do I sound like I'm super far from the mic, and can you hear Doug okay? While we wait for that answer. So, how was your week, sir? So
far, so good.
I got pretty toasty on the show last week. I listened back, and I was talking in cursive towards the end of the show.
And talking in cursive.
I plan to do the same thing tonight. We'll see how it goes, but I had a lot more to eat today.
I'm anxious simply because this is my first flight to the Eastern time zone of the United States of America. So this will be very, very interesting to see. And also possibly go say hello to Mr. Balboa. Well, thank you, Travis, because I was getting crap last week because I didn't sound good. Thank you.
So we'll definitely get to see Mr. Balboa.
Oh, nice.
They've done you a solid. They moved the Rocky statue down to the bottom of the stairs now, so you don't have to run the stairs or even walk them to take a picture for lazy fat people like myself.
I might just go walk up the stairs anyway just to go see the view of the city. Why not?
I mean, you got to run the stairs.
Well, I mean, I do have a specific playlist dedicated to Rocky and Cream movies just alone on my phone. So there you go.
I'm shocked. I'm not shocked at all. That sounds like exactly some shit you would have.
Of course. Why not? But anyway, we will even break down some stats of the run that the BIC and the Insomniacs got to get here to this championship game. We always talk about what would it be like if so-and-so and so-and-so happened. Well, it actually gets to happen this Sunday at 4 Eastern, 1 Pacific on ASNFL.tv. And by the way, Matt Ryan, hope you had a fantastic birthday yesterday. Happy motherfucking birthday, Matt Ryan. Of course.
Happy motherfucking birthday, Matt Ryan.
Of course, he'll be on the call with Rob and Corey this upcoming Sunday. Yes, James, we are rambling, but that's okay.
We're not rambling. We're having a conversation. Get your own fucking show.
Derek trying to give out ideas of making on the shows. But no, it should be a very interesting week of preparing for this game and just seeing the atmosphere. And, of course, weather will be a factor, of course, because it's dealing with humidity, a different type of humidity for one team. So we will see if the home field...
type of heat, which is humidity for the Insomniacs.
How will they handle that? That remains to be seen. Hello, Mr. Cox.
Casey Cox in the house with a let's go. Mr. Blaze in the house with the blessings, guys. Thank you for tapping in, gentlemen.
So we are momentarily waiting on Mr. Franklin, and you're welcome, Catalyst Wrestling. I think I have a pretty good idea who might that be.
We always call it Catalyst Wrestling, but we did just give someone who's involved with Catalyst Wrestling a nice happy birthday shout out, so we can assume that that's who's responding.
Well, he's been working on graphics, and he's probably working on Dynamite right now with one Tony Khan. That remains to be seen. Travis thinks that the Insomniacs will be fine dealing with the elements, that is the humidity and the weather. Mr. Webster says championship week is here. Yes, it is. Surely indeed.
I hear the Insomniacs have been doing wind sprints in a spa, in a sauna.
Interesting.
I did not hear that.
Nothing is like Arizona and Vegas, but I've always said Arizona is a lot hotter, and people look at me crazy when I say that, but it's true. Arizona summers are hotter than Nevada summers.
Funny story. You're absolutely right. Under normal circumstances, on average,
yes,
Phoenix is between 7 and 10 degrees hotter than Las Vegas, except this year, where it's been the inverse. Vegas has been 7 to 10 degrees hotter than Arizona virtually every day this summer, but this is the hottest summer on record for Nevada, and we had our hottest day on record, which happened to be the day we hosted the championship game here in Las Vegas on July 7th.
At 8 p.m.
So 7. Of course, in Vegas, they had to make it the hottest day because 7's for the A7 is all it's about. I wanted them to do the game at 7 o'clock, but it'd be too goddamn hot.
Drago says BIC minus 21.
I'll take that, Cheddar. Drago. I'm not sure who you are, but hit my inbox. I am at Mr. 24/7 LV. Message me, and we will put whatever amount of cheese or cheddar or some humiliating bet you'd like on that.
I just want to know, are you somehow related to Ivan Drago? I'm just putting it out there. Mr. Cox says that he will be out there. Can't wait for the game. CIRTV says the Insomniacs on the clock.
Yeah, and they'll be picking first.
Mr. Cox says that's my birthday.
We're allowed to bet cheese and humiliating things, James. James B says we're not allowed to bet. We're allowed to bet non-monetary or things of value.
In other words, we cannot do the Pete Rose, is what he's trying to say.
But I'm down to do on-site push-ups, which is my bet with KWAC. KWAC bet me last show that the Insomniacs would not register 2 sacks. And if they did, he would have to forevermore for a total of 10 on-site push-ups.
Now we found out who Draco is, and here comes Brother. Brother is saying BIC by 2 scores. Of course. Mr. Wilkerson, hello, sir. The namesake.
Of all people.
Of all people, yes. Go get a tray, says Insomniacs by 2 scores. So, if you're keeping score, if you're keeping a tally, we got 1 for the BIC by 2 scores.
Well, I know you jumped over brother. I don't know if it's just because his comments don't count because you invited him on the show and he did not accept.
Well, he's been invited more. He's been invited by Chris. He's been invited by you. He's been invited by 25 Live. Catalyst says all-decade runner. All right.
I believe that means Wilkerson made the all-decade team for running back, or he's been nominated. I'm not sure if we're spilling tea or if it's just a conversation piece, but I believe that's what that means.
Now, I'm really curious to see what is in the briefcase that Matt Ryan has been teasing on A7. That's going to possibly be the resemblance of possibly a new trophy. That remains to be seen. But there is
hoping it's the cash, so I don't have to go to the fucking ATM again. That shit was wild. Having to go to the bank and pull out envelopes and drive it across town. Like, I don't need that pressure.
No pressure at all. Casey says it's going to be a show for sure, but he says the Insomniacs are going back-to-back. # back-to-back.
Speaking of which, Dub says there was a lot of conversation around my Facebook post.
Yes, it was.
I was so busy, I didn't even have a chance to go check it out.
You should.
I'm going to, but you keep the show going.
All right. JJ says, what's up, fellas? Good evening. Mr. Cunningham calls it a business trip this weekend, FLG. You know the acronym. I don't need to say it. Well, Deadpool and Wolverine will say it for me next week when the most anticipated movie, perhaps, since Endgame is coming out. But that would be fantastic. 2-5, what's happening, brother? And glad you are out there with your son. We are still praying for you. Looking at, like I said, God is not through yet. So tell Junior to keep fighting. We're all praying for you, pulling for you, you and Miss Peter Marie. So you guys keep fighting and go out there and stand on faith. But good to hear from you, 2-5. And good to see you back out there with Junior. So keep fighting. All right.
Oh, the comments are very interesting.
I told you. I told you.
I should have laced these up before.
A lot of banter going on your post talking about going back to back.
I should have laced up my shoes before I got in this game. I apologize, everybody. But back to the podcast.
All right. Mr. Rocco says, BIC, better let me win on my birthday. So Sunday is your birthday. Is that what you're trying to tell us? And, of course, 2-5, if you're still listening, JB is asking, is everything good? And momentarily, our guest is working on it, so he will join us momentarily. And, here we go. The clowning has begun. All goodness. Goodness gracious, great balls of fire.
All right, so.
Okay. Technical difficulties. Well, technology sometimes likes to be a pain in the ass. Trust me, I know all about that all too well.
Anthony Wilkerson, how many years old will you be this born day, my friend? And happy upcoming cake day to you.
Upcoming cake day.
Well, let's not wait for confidence. That's dead air. I dislike dead air.
But more importantly, will he have some special power pellets for himself on his cake day in the Natty? That remains to be seen.
I mean, for his special power pellets are Chick-fil-A nuggets, right?
Along those lines.
Which means he'll have to buy them on Saturday and store them for Sunday.
Yes.
And he probably doesn't need a microwave. He just heat them up in the Jersey sun.
Oh, it's his Marshall Falk birthday. All right.
Shit. Well, happy early born day, my guy. That's pretty cool.
Happy early Marshall Falk birthday.
So let's talk about a couple things.
Okay.
Let's start with everybody wanted to see, well, not everybody. Everybody on the East Coast wanted to see, well, not everybody. Everybody on the East Coast, not named the Watchmen, wanted to see BIC versus the Insomniacs last season.
Correct.
And they got tripped up on their way to the chip by, I believe it was the Watchmen.
No, BIC lost to the U.
You lost to the Watchmen. Thank you for the reminder.
Yes.
This BIC team this year is infinitely better than the BIC team of the year before.
Fair analogy. Very fair enough.
They've added some very strong players and filled some holes that they left last season. But their trip to the chip was not against any fully staffed squads. And as they've discussed and screamed from the rooftops, the Insomniacs haven't played nobody. Well, they haven't played nobody at full staff except for the Animals, who gave them a run for their money
68
as a team
points.
who was just an up and coming,
Yes.
not a returning champion.
No.
So I just to put everything into the perspective and the lens that I'm looking at this game through, BIC is not tested this season, and the one test they had, they look sloppy, they look beatable. That's where I'm at. Insomniacs, they went up against the best the West has to offer, which was Sick With It. They went up with this virtually the same team, but now with a few more pieces last season, went up to against what I would say is the best team in A7FL, which is the Nightcrawlers, and squeezed out a win. I don't think BIC is on Nightcrawlers level. I think Nightcrawlers lost to Insomniacs because of depth issues and Insomniacs' game plan to run them in the ground, make sure Mark Bagway was chasing people left and right, and while he was at the quarterback position and started making mistakes late in the game for back-to-back turnovers, if I'm not mistaken, is how that game ended. One of them, obviously not Bagway's fault, but the entire team making bad decisions in the late third and all of the fourth quarter that created turnovers for the Insomniacs, which they weren't getting in the first half.
Well, here's the thing, and I'll just say it like this. 4 turnovers happened in that game. The Insomniacs scored on 3 of those 4 because obviously the 4th one was the interception to end the game. But my point being, the Insomniacs made them count on those 3 of those 4 turnovers. Now, BIC against the U turned the ball over 4 times. Now, I don't know how many conversions the U turned that out of those 4, but if they do that again and Insomniacs can at least get 3 out of 4, their chances lie very good to possibly win the game because obviously we know it's going to be one of the trenches, but it's more of who takes care of the football in this particular game.
All right, so we have some comments in the chat after you and I made those statements. Let's address those real quick before we go on to point 2. Rolling back.
All right, so CITV says the U was fully staffed. James says the U was missing Huff. Mr. Webster says, who was missing from the U in the regular season? CIRTV says we beat the U with Huff. And here comes Brother again, being Brother saying the U Watchmen all were beat healthy earlier in the season. What the fuck is he talking about?
No offense, the Watchmen were the 4th best team in the East this year. That doesn't really count. They would have been the 4th best team in the West this year and on par with OTT the way they played this season. So the Watchmen broke up and became half of the buzz and weren't the team they were last year, or they might be back in this championship or at least would have advanced to the semifinals. So to say the Watchmen were full staff, that really doesn't mean shit because their full staff wasn't good enough this season whenever it mattered.
Travis says the regular season UBIC game was good the first time, but Huff did get hurt.
Exactly. Huff got hurt in the middle of that game, hurt his knee, wasn't the same player even though he stayed in the game. And it was the first game of the season when people were still working shit out. There's a reason why when they put out the preliminary schedule when they had Insomniacs versus Sick week 1, I said, no, we're not doing it. They can play, the Sick can play the Force or Insomniacs can play Force. So we can have a big marquee game, but we're not putting our 2 best and having their first game of the season be their first test. We need them having worked themselves up to be who they're going to be by the time they meet each other so that we can have a better game. So that's why I don't like U versus BIC week 1 because you don't know what your pieces are. And you can practice all you want against each other. You don't know what your pieces really are or what they can really do until you get on the field.
He really put that name out there. Okay, James said BIC is going to be a great game. Brother again says Vegas is kissing Nightcrawler's ass because they beat them last year. Here comes the Glaze.
You can just stop reading Brother comments. Until he comes on this show, I don't really give a damn.
Okay. Casey says facts. Insomniacs only lost 1 game, and it was a game they were missing at least 40% of the roster and probably close to 6%. And they made right by coming fully set for the chip and won, just saying. He also says when the Insomniacs come fully staffed, they have no competition, in my opinion. Elijah Rombell says the Watchmen only lost to the U and BIC.
Yeah, the Watchmen only lost to the 2 good teams in New Jersey.
James B says we were missing 40% of the roster. Sick played an amazing game and we made too many mistakes. And says good luck, Ola Bell on Sunday.
And Tajon, you're wrong. It was week 1. I was very disappointed that the game came out week 1.
And yes, it is all going to be solved on Sunday at 4 p.m. Eastern Pacific. But now, joining us, I believe he's there, Black Baby Jesus with the G, not a J. But the head of Officiating joining us is Mr. Will Franklin, who is in the Bat Cave, apparently. Will, are you there?
Hey, I can't hear anything.
You can't hear it? Can you hear us now?
See the volume buttons up top?
No, I don't. Oh, here we go.
Can you hear me now?
Well, you have to turn your
Yeah, I got you. Yeah, I got you.
sound up, maybe. Oh,
All right, am I
Missile,
good?
you're doing well. How it goes with you? How was your Friday at work? We can hear you. Can you hear us?
Yeah, I can hear you. I just can't see
All
you
right.
guys. I can't see
Welcome.
myself.
Did you turn your camera on?
Yeah. Give me a second.
All right. The voice that you are hearing is the head of official. There you go. There's Mr. Franklin, ladies and gentlemen.
Yes, I'm here. What's
What
Welcome
up,
back,
fellas?
sir. How are you?
Yeah, appreciate you guys, man. I'm doing well, man. How you guys doing?
Will coming to us straight from his grandma's house. Like, I went upstairs.
Straight out of an 80s sitcom.
I'm definitely not home, man. Just bear with me, man. I had to get somewhere just so I can get on here real quick.
Well, thanks for gracing us with your presence, sir. Appreciate you being on.
Yeah, man. Appreciate you guys having me, man. I always love popping up, man. Always some bullshit kicks up after these, but I love it. Let's go.
All right. Well, look, you have the opportunity to address the bullshit out the gate. It's entirely up to you. You've got the floor, sir. What are you bringing to the table today? You got a lot of things you wanted to discuss.
Yeah, man. You know, I just wanted to go over some of the ground rules this is something that I would normally send to the captains and coaches of each team before big games, or just in a week that we have some sort of points of emphasis that we want to go over, or just things of that nature, man. So just want to give you guys an idea of what we had on the slate for Championship Sunday. You guys can still hear me?
Yeah, let's make it happen, Cap.
All right,
Yeah,
cool.
we hear you.
All right. Yeah, so I got a few notes here, man. Yeah, basically just kind of setting ground rules and expectations for Sunday. Maybe take some questions too if you guys need me to. But first of all, as far as the referees go, and we're all on the same page. I've been meeting with the referees. We're all on the same page as far as how we want this game to go, the pace of the game, everything else. But just ground rules and expectations for Sunday. First of all, so Kenny and Carl from BIC and James and Stevie are who the coaches or who the referees are going to recognize as the coaches of each organization. Okay. Something I definitely want to reiterate and just reestablish as far as scuffles on the field, right? Just let's get this one out of the way first. If there's any scuffles on the field, those four players or four coaches, captains, are the only ones authorized to run off the sidelines to help, even if it's just to help keep the peace on the field. Those are the only four people that if there's a scuffle on the field that are allowed to run off the sideline and come help and just bring calm to the situation. Injuries are different. We know the difference between scuffles and injuries and things of that nature, but we're just going with it, man. We had, and see, I'm not as worried about it with these two teams about scuffles. I know it's going to get heated, but I'm just going off of last year's championship. I mean, Insomniacs were model citizens. Nightcrawlers were model citizens. We just had a great game last season. I want to make sure that we just have the tempo and set the tempo for a great game this season. But here's what I will say: if anyone else runs off that sideline beyond those four people that we recognize, we're just going to start ejecting players, right? And if at the end of the, that first scuffle, we end up playing 6-on-7, then that's just what we're going to do the rest of the game. But we're not.
So let's pause for a second, put a pin in that to make sure we're all on the same page.
Absolutely. Let's do that.
For everyone listening, if there is a scuffle on the field and the bench is clear to go take care of said scuffle, everybody who leaves the sideline will be ejected.
100%.
Aside from the coaches that you qualified at the beginning of this, which were head coach and lead designee for both sides.
Right. I always try to get an idea of who that is on every team that I'm not familiar with. But yeah, Kenny and Carl, BIC, are who helps keep the peace over there, and James and Stevie are who we're going to recognize from the Insomniacs.
Copy that. Thank you.
All right. The next big item that we want to make sure that we cover is big celebrations have always been okay in our league. teams running off the sidelines after big TDs, that's still permitted. I just want to make sure those celebrations happen in the end zone. I don't want any players running across the field to the other team's sideline, right? Running across the middle of the field to go taunt. Celebrating is much different than taunting, right? I think we can all agree on that. But if we need to put up, we need to make some distinctions, and let's make them.
Wait. So Anthony Wilkerson pointed out something very important. You're not bald.
Never been bald. What the fuck you guys talking about bald? Hell no, man.
I never said anything.
We've never seen you without a hat.
Oh, well, fuck it then. There it is. Yes, you guys have. I'm pretty sure I ran that race last year without a hat on, didn't I?
Not maybe to try to be more aerodynamic, but
yeah, I mean, at least that's like the most minimum time.
No, I think you had a hat on.
I probably had a hat on, man. I ain't gonna hold you.
No, but we do have a question. We do have a question for Bino. Bino says, "What do you mean exactly when you say the way you guys want the game to go?"
Well, the officials on the field. I mean, we're gonna officiate the game. We want the game to go as smoothly as possible, like it did last year. There weren't any scuffles.
Yes.
Time management was all over the place. It was just a well played game without all competitive egos all over the place. But there weren't no fights. There wasn't anybody a bunch of chest to chest. Fake bacon and all that extra shit that people be doing. There just wasn't a whole lot of that. So we want to manage the game and make sure we just have a clean presentation Sunday. That's what we want to do. And we realize that we have a place in that as well. That's not just tempers on the field. That's referees. That's our communication on the field. All that stuff contributes to game management.
Thank you for that clarification.
Right. So celebrations again.
Well,
celebrations.
Joining us is a regular part of our panel. Well, joining us is one of our regulars on the panel, live on location. 2-5. Welcome to the show, buddy. Glad to see you. How are you?
Hey, what's going on, fellas? What's going on, everybody?
What's going on, Big Knox?
Oh, man, I can't call it, man. Just want to quickly say I appreciate everybody who's been sending their prayers and showing love to Junior. Really, since this shit kicked off, you feel me? Those that have looked out, much appreciated, you feel me? Those that have checked in, you know what I'm saying? Again, much appreciated. He gonna get there.
Thanks for being here, Big Knox. I know you got a lot going on. I appreciate you tapping in with us.
Yeah, for real.
Man, come on, man. It's Natty weekend, fellas. I can't be in a
That it is.
You know what I'm saying? I can't be in a bad mood, you know what I mean, or anything. But of course, this is one of those where I'll tell everybody I kind of need it. You feel me? So I need the energy. I need the conversation. You feel me? So why not pop in and see what's going on?
Yeah, definitely appreciate you popping on, man.
All right, Mr. Franklin, go ahead and continue.
Yeah, so I just want to make sure that we're all clear on that, man. That celebrations, big celebrations, have always been a part of our culture. It's never been done in excess. Obviously, we know when big touchdowns happen, big celebrations. Just want to keep all that stuff in check, man. On big celebrations, you guys have until we get down the field and spot the ball on the play for the extra point, obviously, and then we're just going to start the play clock from there. So it's not going to be anything that we're going to allow to even go into an excessive situation. You guys just got to, do what you got to do, get off the field. We got to get on to the next play. I think this is going to be the one thing that's going to be a little bit of culture shock. Now, let me say this. Preston is going to be the white hat. We've all discussed that.
Test.
Yeah, I can hear you. The test. We good?
Yeah, my bad.
Okay.
I just can't get my microphone to work right.
You're good, man. Preston's going to be the white hat on the day. Hopefully we're going to have 5 referees out there. I know last year we had 6. 5 is the minimum that I really want on the field. We're going to have a little bit different setup this year. Is and we just did it just this last weekend, is we're going to have 2 referees, 2 officials behind the quarterback. So it'll be 2 behind the quarterback, 2 on the line, and 1 deep. I'm going to be on the play clock. Now, the one thing that I think is probably going to be culture shock for Vegas, even though the Insomniacs are very good about getting in and out of the huddle, is going to be that play clock. As soon as the marker's placed down, we're blowing that 30-second thing in. I mean, over the years that I've been doing this for this league, Ryan DePaul's biggest gripe has always been the play clock, and just probably some years back now, but I've just become a play clock Nazi. It's 30 seconds, and if I'm on that whistle, then expect it to be as soon as we spot the ball, we're on that 30-second clock. So the game of this minus timeouts, minus TV timeouts, it's going to be a fast-paced game.
Well, I'm on the same page with you, brother. So as long as the Insomniacs or everyone gets a 10 call and a 5 call, everyone's going to be good.
So I'm on the 10 and the 5 call. I'm pretty good about it. There's times where maybe I'm answering a question. I've started the clock, and maybe I've answered a question too long. In those circumstances where it isn't a quarterback's fault, who obviously doesn't have a play clock to see, there's a touch of grace and mercy built in there, right? But for the most part, I'm pretty on it, engaged with the quarterback, with myself and Preston back there. He'll be answering the questions. I can pretty much stay on the play clock. I usually pop into a huddle around 15 seconds and let everybody know while play's being called we're at 15. I try to stay decent about that as well to make sure that we all just, get in and out of these huddles as quickly as possible.
So, Will, if I can
Go ahead.
ask, what goes into the selection process of choosing refs for a championship game for you guys? No, what's the process of you choosing referees when it comes to the championship game?
Last year was the first time that we've ever really come up with this, and really, just observation throughout the year, referee, official competence, who we feel like, are the best representation for us. Last year, it was just me traveling out there to represent the East, and this year it's just Preston traveling out here to represent the West. We wanted to make sure that we try to put something like that in place so that there's, comfortabilities and familiarity. I understand that the talks about bias and this and that, and I'll get into that, but man, let me just tell y'all, man, officials, especially this game right here, honestly, we don't give a shit who wins. I am 0% invested in this East versus West thing. If A7 wins, I, as the head referee, part of this company for as long as I win too. And that's just simply the way I see it. Super proud of the Insomniacs when they won their championship last year. If they win it again, I'm going to stand out on the field and watch and observe them, in a super proud moment for those guys as well. If BIC wins, same thing. But, I don't want anybody to be worried about bias. Maybe as we get into this thing in a few more years, maybe we have even more of a mixed crew. Maybe we bring in some Ohio guys. Maybe we bring in some Vegas guys and some East Coast guys, just whatever. We just got to get there, I guess. I don't think your mic's working or my mic's not working.
Look, thank you, Will,
There you go.
for pointing that out. I just want to be clear. On the Vegas side, we will also celebrate the BIC victory and be very respectful. I'm a crying car, but I will be respectful.
Listen, man. It's an emotional game, man. Emotions take you wherever they take you at the time. Shit, I don't come cry on my shoulder. Shit, I don't give a fuck. But the play clock will be on y'all collective asses. That's my point. All right. So as far as the play clock goes, all right. So we're gonna start the play clock on extra points. We're gonna start the play clock after we ask the QB if they're going for 1 or 2. If we don't get a response, we're just gonna place the ball down for 1. And if you're gonna have to use a timeout if you want us to respot the ball for you to go for 2. So we always try to go to whoever is the captain on the field, the quarterback on the field. If I notice if I notice there's packages where Scooter may go off, maybe Q will come in. There's a few packages like that with BIC. I usually try to pay attention to that on the run down. to see what type of transitions are being made as far as substitutions go. But yes, I just want to make sure that quarterbacks understand that. I'm going to make sure I send this list out too, so teams can put this stuff in their chats as well. So just guys just need to be paying attention. Now, after the extra points or do we need to talk about anything there? Are we good? Move on.
Let me just reiterate for those who didn't understand: if the quarterback or captain of the team who scored does not declare, the referees will automatically make it a 1-point try. So we don't want to hear no shit after the fact saying, oh, you screwed us on this. It's up to you to address the referee. Tell him you're going for 1 or 2. We're saying it now. Make it all be known.
Right. I mean, that's going to play into, and just that situation right there always plays into the chess portion of things during a football game when it comes to having timeouts for replays. I'm expecting there to be replays, quite a few plays to hopefully come down to replays. I mean, that's the way most tight football games are played. Myself and Preston will be going over to the monitor that is on the field to see all replays, make sure that we agree on everything that the booth is telling us that we see for ourselves. And so both extra points and replays, referees will be reviewing those. We will review those together. All right. So after the extra points are complete, the 30-second play clock will start once the line judge is back to the 35 to mark the 3-on-1. We'll blow the play in. You've got 30 seconds to throw that ball off after we blow the play in, or we're going straight to penalty and it's going to go straight to ball in hand. So I just want to make sure that these transitions it'll be slow when my guy gets back to the 35. We may not blow it in, but that's because we're in a TV timeout. But if there's no TV timeout, as soon as he gets to the 35, we're blowing the 3-on-1 in. I know a lot of teams. That's where a lot of teams get held up on their sidelines when they're transitioning to find their 3 who's going to be on the field, or teams negotiating or arguing or who's returning this ball this time. Just want to make sure that all these play clock issues are noted, because that's going to be one of the biggest issues I think that most folks aren't used to. How quickly 30 seconds really goes when you're really playing the pace we're supposed to. Go ahead.
All right, Will, we got another question. This is from Coach James, and he is asking, Will, are we going to have good camera coverage?
And let me say, I believe he's asking that for replay opportunities, because in Vegas, it's not ever a good job to challenge unless the game was at the 50-yard line on the near sideline.
Yeah, so all of the league's resources are being put into this game as far as production. It's very rare that I can't find an angle, and I get multiple angles. Just like you're watching the championship game here, I'll get 3 or 4 angles on a particular play. We'll kind of zoom in on which one is most advantageous, obviously, for what we're looking for. But that usually hasn't been an issue. That usually has not been an issue. The camera coverage. There's 2 in each end zone. There's 2, or there's 1 in each end zone. There's 2 above. We've been pretty good about it this season. Now we don't have all 4 corners covered, but
2-5
it doesn't come down to that.
Not yet. 2-5. You got anything you want to ask, Will?
No, not necessarily. I like the way he's been officiating these last games. He definitely made that last game out there with BIC very interesting. You feel me? He was very efficient on that play clock, so that was good to see. I like the fact that they're coming up with, like I said, just new stuff to be able to keep the game flowing and keep the game going, to where really no team is able to lose momentum or gain momentum. So no, I think overall, Franklin know what he's doing. He know what he's doing. He got it. I'm glad he didn't take that white hat position. He gave that shit up. You know what I'm saying? He definitely needs to get that shit up to like Preston or something, but that's cool. I'm just fucking around. But no, other than that, no, Franklin definitely got it. I'm pretty excited. Like I said, I'll be watching. I'll be seeing what's going on. So, hey, Franklin, I might need your vote, though. All right? Just keep that in mind. I'm gonna need your vote. Okay.
Oh shit, what am I voting on?
Vote that anybody that's in the position of being a higher up should definitely be able to be a part of the game. If you wanted to play, you feel me? Even if you wanted to play and you wasn't reffing, I feel like you should be able to play too. I'm just saying.
Damn.
Knox wants to play even if he's division manager.
Got you. Fair enough. We'll see what we can do, man. This is one I always say, man. Anytime I talk to a group of guys, man, whether I'm on your guys' coaches calls or whether I'm on something like this, this is one point that you can always count on me reiterating, and this is coming down to when you're communicating with the refs. It's our job. It's a part of our job description to make sure that we answer questions and we give you adequate answers. A lot of guys don't respect the fact of, asked and answered. But once it's asked and answered, I mean, we're moving on. Like if we turn our backs on you, we run and get with the next play and get in position. That's not disrespect, but it's not a whole room for a whole lot of negotiating. But with that said, when you're communicating with my refs, one thing I can always just tell you guys is just good advice. You can cuss while you're talking to my refs. I would suggest not cussing at my refs. Right. Everybody understands where I stand on this on my staff. If there's guys being disrespectful, you got to whack them. You got to hit them. I can't be the only one throwing these flags, but again, with these two teams, I don't really have any worries about that. Sometimes with coaches, things get a bit out there, and we understand that with coaches. We always try to do things within reason, and you guys, I think you guys understand the spirit of at least what I'm talking about right now. Because at that point, not only are we going to flag your team, but it's going to change. You can expect how we're going to communicate with you for the rest of that game to change going forward. Right. Nobody wants to sit and be berated when we're out here just doing our jobs, right, to the best of our abilities. I believe I have, it's going to be the 4 or 5 best refs that I have the most confidence in. And as far as, Preston being white hat, you guys will never know me to work off of ego. So, that kind of stuff doesn't affect me. Who's the white hat, who's not. I'm just glad to be here. I ain't even gonna hold you. I'm a fan. I'm an ex-player. I love this shit.
Let me quickly go on record that Will and I spoke and asked me that if I needed to have Preston be the white hat, and I said no. As long as Preston's there, I think everyone's good. And he said that they elected to make them the white hat because they felt the best about it. So the league is trying to do everything they can. Will's trying to do everything they can to make this as fair as possible for both sides. And I think making Preston white hat helps everybody involved. I mean, Preston is probably the most, I don't want to say respected, but tenured official as far as public games in the professional and college sports side. So it makes sense to have him be the white hat, even though Will is perfectly capable of being that. So from the Vegas position, I appreciate it, and I hope everyone else understands and appreciates as well.
Appreciate that, Derek. I do appreciate that.
All right,
Go ahead.
We got a question from AJ Jackson, and the question is, are you trying to lower the amount of taunting next year? The players be clowning with some of the stuff they do to each other.
I mean, sportsmanship is always going to be, sportsmanship, on-field behavior. If we're going to grow this league to where we want it, man, at some point, man, we just got to let you guys be athletes out here, man. I will say this. Let me stay on subject. It's always going to be shit talking, man. What the fuck are we out here for? You know what I mean? Like, you hit a motherfucker with a suck my dick. You the fuck out of here. You know what I mean? This isn't Christian Mingle out this motherfucker. You know what I mean? Like we want to ball. So the taunting, like tackle someone and standing over them. You know what I mean? Like last week in the BIC game, I had to throw my guy out for sexual assault. Right? How you just going? You know what I'm saying? Like we got to get up out of here, man. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like it's all within reason, man. Like we're not here to. We want the players to decide this shit. Taunting, only one ref is coming from Vegas.
The comedy is not lost with BIC playing and it not being Christian Mingle. I'm just throwing it out there.
Yeah, well, listen, You know what, man? Hey, brothers in Christ, it is what it is, man. Got some killers, stealers, and drug dealers in every organization, man. It is what it is.
Facts.
But yeah, man. Other than that, man, I don't really have any other notes, man. That's really it. The
Hard
real
to argue
point.
that.
Oh, actually, let me go over one other thing that two other things. Let me say this. Let me bounce down real quick. Great teams and great coaching staffs adjust their games to how the game is being called on the field. Okay. Every referee from college on up, we all get scouting reports, right? Like we all are known for something. What we do a lot of, what we don't do a lot of. Like in the NFL, I'm sure everyone's heard of the official Ed Hockley, right? For the last 3 years, no other crew, and they have the same crew for the entire year. No
Correct.
other crew has called back more touchdowns than his crew, right? So from a betting perspective, most folks are taking the under on any games Hockley's on, right? You got to adjust it to how things are being called. Now, the one real point of emphasis that Preston wanted on this list was low tackles and wrapping up. Does a low tackle have to result in a wrap up? No, it does not. Some form of flailing your arms forward when you're going low or you're going down, and there's no such thing as an illegal ankle tackle. You can go as low as someone's feet, as long as it's an attempt of some sort of wrap where you led with your hands, arms were forward in some position. Not this where you're just chucking somebody. But yeah, so low tackles is going to be one of the points of emphasis that Preston is going to make sure that we're flagging, even if we have to go and pick those flags up. He wants it flagged if there's any potential of a low tackle with no wraps. That's his thing. My thing's the play clock. His thing is low tackles. But there's no such thing as how low a tackle can be. Right. My bad.
All right.
And last thing I want to cover here real quick. Last thing.
Job opening.
Last thing here. No huddle situations. Both teams have no huddle packages that they run with. We're all going to be very mindful, and I don't know if we've seen a lot of this in our league. It's always been kind of a free for all, but just know that this game it's going to be paid attention to. If you're going no huddle, and the offense makes some sort of substitution where anyone runs onto the field, they run 2-3 yards onto the field and run back. Most likely myself is going to run up to this line of scrimmage and pause the game, so that the defense can make their substitutions as well. All right, so just be mindful on that we are going to come down and stop huddles. It's not just going to be if you can get all your players on before they get all their players off. We're not going to be allowing that, right? So we're going to make sure that this thing, the whole presentation all the way around, is going to be clean.
Hey, Will, I got some. So I see even out there, and a lot of the guys have that problem out here, where once the ball is set, quarterbacks have a tendency of wanting to flip the ball and rotate the ball in their hands. You feel me?
Yeah.
How would that be called, or what should what should the defense know that they are the ones that should be going as soon as that ball gets flipped around? Or
Yeah, that keeps coming up, man. That really does keep coming up. Honestly, I understand. It's just like basketball. When you're at the free throw line, it's kind of like, getting in a rhythm. And I've always understood that. You know what I mean? For me, as long as it stops as soon as when they start their cadence, then we're fine. Look at this, like a Munchie here, boy. Listen, if Munchie even comes out here with a Hot Wheels Dodge Charger, I'm throwing him out.
I heard he got a rental out there.
Hey, listen, if he come out here with a Hot Wheels Dodge Charger, it's gonna be up. That's crazy.
So right quick, if you look at the screen, here's an example of a player trying to make a tackle and not putting his arms out to wrap.
That's a penalty.
Right. It wasn't because he didn't make contact, but
yeah, no.
Seconds. If he had, it would have been It would have been a penalty.
Yeah, we're calling that.
Well, that's why
No,
it
no.
resulted into
Just
a
now.
run back.
Just so we're clear. If the runner goes down as a result of it, we're going to flag it. If he just runs through it and keeps going, we're not going to tack it on to the end of his run.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah, Shuford. Hey, hold on.
Well, was that everything? Because I got some questions.
I love that shit. Now go ahead, man.
All right. So one of the things I'm noticing from the championship game from last season that isn't regular for games in Asbury, is there going to be a solid line on the foul hash mark?
Man, that's I'm be honest with you, man. That's above my pay grade. I think you're more in a position to influence that than I am. It shows how made things nice, though.
Done. I'll bring a roll of tape.
You shouldn't have to. You shouldn't have to. I think you know, Derek Duncan, man. Like you know, motherfuckers can play all they want to, man. You right now, you the Jerry Jones of this shit, man. Just all respect, man. You put a lot into that division over there, man. If you can't get a motherfucker to put some tape down on the grass, you know what I mean? That's a minimum request.
Let's be clear. I'm Jerry Jones, but one of my teams has won a championship in the last 30 years.
Well, there's that then. Shit.
All right. What are the official rules for replay?
So there's a few things with replay. There's no real official rules. So as long as you have a timeout, you can call for a challenge. Is that what we're talking about as far as replays, challenges?
Yes, please.
Okay, yeah. So as long as you have a timeout at any point in time, you can challenge something. There will be times where just us as refs will want to see something for ourselves no matter what. A lot of times what I do without running over to the booth is I'll mic up, you know, talk up to the booth, be like, hey, I need you to replay that something for real quick for me. But official replays, as long as you have a timeout, you can challenge. Let me think. I mean, if it's
so
big,
let me just reiterate. So there will be official replays run by the replay official or the field or the referees on the field, and the teams have the capability of challenging if they have a timeout.
Correct.
All right. What about within 2 minutes of the end of the first half or the end of the second half? Are all replays initiated by the field in the booth, or do teams have to have a timeout? And can they call for a replay within 2 minutes if they don't have a timeout and signal you and like, yo, we need to look at that?
So the official answer is no. No. If you don't have a timeout, you can't challenge it, right? If it's game changing, if it's in the spirit of just fairness that we absolutely get this rule right, because one, I don't want to get tagged in 45 videos by the end of the game, right? That's one motivating factor. I myself, out of good conscience, am going to go over there and make sure that this game is being called down to 50. That you know what I'm saying, that you know if it's that impactful of a play, you know, I'll go look at it. We'll go look at it without anyone having a timeout, right? And that'll just be an official timeout that we need to do to make sure that we're correct on that call, especially if it has the ability to change a game.
All right. What about scoring plays and turnovers? Are they automatically reviewed?
No, they are not.
Rule change. All right.
Now, let me say
the other
this.
questions I don't think will be up to you.
They're not, but you know, for the championship game, I believe they should be.
Can we implement that now with Jerry Jones and Ed Ockley right now?
Listen, you deal with the tape, and I'll deal with the and I'll make sure that we get the review thing taken care of.
All right, let's get it on.
But if you don't got the tape down there, don't expect me to give you nothing on. If I don't see tape down that sideline, right?
I'll bring 6 rolls of white tape. We'll be good.
All right.
Yeah, I was going to say, Derek, you know that's enough.
Yes, sir.
Just bring an extra one. Bring 7. Might have to
Bring
take
7. You
somebody
got
up.
it.
Man, one thing you guys know about in Vegas is definitely can we get this in writing? Yeah, you can, man. Most of it. The other questions that I didn't, cover, you just got to come back and replay the shit. Why don't we just have replay under 2 minutes by the refs? Because this isn't the NFL, man. We just haven't written the rules like that. Jesus Christ. Adjust your game to how the game's being called, James.
All right, so James, to recap, we did get that all scoring plays and turnovers will be reviewed. You need to save a timeout for the time after 2 minutes to make sure that you can call a challenge in case you have something that is weird that isn't a turnover or a scoring play within 2 minutes. And then, Will, I didn't have this in my notes, but as far as what's reviewable, it's basically NFL stuff, right? No judgment calls.
Right, no penalties, no
So you
judgment
can't
calls. I mean,
review
it's going to be fumbles.
no
It's going to be
penalties, including false start.
including false starts. Yeah, no penalties, including all
Okay.
that. You guys aren't big on flinching out there. That's more of an East Coast thing where we have to really regulate that. A linebacker walking down to the line and getting set and setting up as the fourth rusher or the potential fourth rusher is one thing. Flinching at the lineman, bucking at them, that's a whole nother thing. But that's something that really is more of a when you talk about like culture, it's more of an East Coast thing with gamesmanship. You guys just don't really do that.
What about a defender crossing the line and getting back before the offensive moves or they snap?
We'll let them get back. If no offensive lineman
Okay.
moves, we'll let them get back.
They'd be stupid not to move, but if they don't, that's good to know.
Yeah. Just so we make sure that there's no confusion on this, because there was some in Ohio. Like I don't think there's going to be an issue this game. Everybody, I think, understands how the cadence work. The cadence can consist of up to 3 sounds. You can go on any one of them. I know in the rule book it says the cadence must consist of 3 sounds. No, it can be up to 3 sounds. That's verbiage that I never noticed was there. The word must. So you can go up there and just say down and everybody go. It could be down, set, go.
I'm saying the normal cadence. So the way I understand the rule, the way we've taught it in Vegas, is it is a 3 sound cadence, but you can go on any one of the 3 sounds.
Correct.
But can you go on no sound?
No, you cannot. You cannot get back there and pull a Trey Robinson. No.
All right. So to clarify, nailed it. All right. So you have the opportunity to go up to 3 sounds. The 3 sounds have to remain the same. And you can go on any one of those 3 sounds. You cannot go on no count or on silent.
Correct.
What happens if there are 3 sounds and they don't go? Is that just an automatic penalty?
I mean, 3 sounds and nobody fires off, man. Shit. That's a hell of a scenario right there, man. We're probably playing cricket or some shit. I mean,
that's supposed to be a penalty.
Yeah, I mean, we're definitely going on the offense if the quarterback doesn't move. We use what from time to time?
So the one thing that was trying to happen in Vegas that didn't get on was once the cadence was stopped and the quarterback moved or spun the ball, it was supposed to be the start of the play and guys would jump the line, but they got called as encroachment versus false start. How's that going to be looked at? So,
I'm glad we covered that a little bit earlier. So after you start your cadence, that ball should be still. It should be still. I know all the flipping and stuff beforehand. Can you go on 2?
You cannot go on 2 to 1. You can go on the second count. You go on set. You cannot go on 2.
I'm sorry, what was I saying?
It's ready, set, go, or whatever your cadence is. And once go happens, you have to go. Right. Well, that's the clarification, right?
That is the clarification. But spinning the ball after I'm not gonna, because there's no snap, man. I can't penalize the defense for firing off on movement. And if that movement is the quarterback, here's what I'll say: with two of us behind the quarterback, one of us is going to be watching for that 100% pre-snap.
And that's a big deal because that certain thing and quarterbacks not being used to that could decide the outcome of this game with as many times it gets called, because that hasn't been called well in Vegas, and I've not seen it called in New Jersey. And if we're going to just implement this for this game, it can be big.
If that's the real
perspective,
bulk of it, if that's what
this
game comes down to, that would be wild. You know what I mean? Like, we're trying to keep this in perspective. Quarterbacks have had a certain rhythm all year long, and so I'm very well versed in Sterry's rhythm. I'm pretty well versed in Scotty's rhythm. How he works up there. Both quarterbacks are good about it. I know you guys are watching tape down to the minuscule details to win this game. Like, everything is on this game right now.
Well, I mean, look, we're watching Scooter right now in a replay.
Yeah, and he didn't come set and all that other stuff. Yeah,
he didn't come set. He comes together, claps his hands. His movement like this, the defense should be able to go.
Yeah, but I said the same thing earlier. And he was more or less on some. The quarterback, pretty much is the one who insinuates the snap and all that. So how he rotates the ball shouldn't really have anything to do with it. But if that's a rule, then that's definitely been a rule since even when I was playing. And I'm pretty sure it was a rule, when other guys was playing. It's just learning how to adapt, because let's just say he gets out there and he's flipping that ball around and then one of them guys come free. It's going to be an issue. And that's for either side.
Yeah, and that's what we're talking about. We want to make sure it's going to be called and how it's going to be called, so everyone on both sides knows.
100%. I think we're all on the same page as far as that point goes. But all great questions, man. We can run down this game and find 100 different scenarios of that ref is fast. Damn, that boy's moving.
The only person I know that watches the refs in a game, dog. That was wild. That was you. That's why.
Yeah. Well, no, I totally watch games from a referee perspective, especially basketball. Yeah, man. But yeah. Goddamn, out there running like Eddie Munster out that motherfucker though. Sorry, I got something new for y'all to do.
Look at them knees, dog. It was up.
Hey, man. Forgot my WD-40, man. Had them Chris Vera knees.
All right, well, I think we covered everything. We touched my questions. Everyone who's in the chat had a chance to ask questions. Let's kind of give it another 30 seconds so they can pop anything else. But while they're doing that, anything else you want to get off your chest in the world of A7 or referee related or whatever it is?
My only beef right now, and I don't really have any beef, man, because I try not to get emotionally invested in all this. But this all-decade team, man, is creating a hell of a stir. I can't wait to see who's on it. Even some of the Vegas guys got some respect and on that list. Nah, man, I don't really have anything, man. I'm really looking forward to you guys getting here, man. Everybody get here safe. I know you guys get here 7 a.m. on Saturday. I'm not sure if I'm going to come up Saturday or not. I usually drive up Sunday morning. Game time's 4:00, but man, I'm just looking forward to seeing all the guys, man. It's all love over here, man. I just want to see a great game. I don't want to see anybody get hurt. Everyone's got to go back to work Monday, Tuesday, or whatever it might be, man. I'm just looking forward to this, man. I'm really looking forward to this.
Well, Mr. Franklin, I truly appreciate you coming on. It's been an absolute joy. One parting comment for me is no strippers to the Airbnb, please, for the Insomniacs. I want that for you or anyone else you might be hanging out with. I know the dudes in New Jersey are killers. The shit in Bullhead was a little different. I wasn't concerned about them them fools, but in New Jersey, I can't have that action.
Oh man. Hey man, good times last year. Definitely good times, man. Definitely
You didn't think I knew,
good
did
times. Hey, listen, man. No comment.
Okay.
No comment. No comment. Even though,
All right, brother.
All right, my guy.
Well, look, again, thank you very much for coming on. You have a great night. We'll see you in 2 days.
Absolutely, guys. See you guys in a couple days.
Have a good night, Will.
You too.
All right, that was Will Franklin, head of officiating with the Ace NFL, laying down some liners for this upcoming weekend in the championship game. Of course, throw-off is scheduled for 4 p.m. Eastern, 1 p.m. Pacific on the West Coast on AceNFL.tv. Again, Matt Ryan, Corey Hammond, and Rafael will be on the call as the Insomniacs will take on the Trenton BIC for the championship and, of course, $25,000. And here we go. Coach Brown says Will had us lined up. Munchie says specifically like the ones he sent. And Coach James says, yeah, he sent a couple of sea donkeys. All right. Nonetheless, glad you're with us here on this 94th edition of The Other Side of the Ball, AA. Derek Duncan, and joining us live on location, Live with 25. Good to see Live with 25 here with us on this particular podcast. So, 25, what is the one thing you're looking for as you put your analyzing camp on in this particular title game between the BIC and the Insomniacs? What's the one matchup or two that you're looking forward to seeing here?
In all honesty, I mean, you got players from both teams that are efficient players and, you know, have a lot to bring to the game. So I'm excited to see possibly a Kenny Mack versus Dave Valley, a Dr. Ooze versus, you feel me? A Dave Valley. A Munchie versus anybody, you feel me? I'm excited overall. Shante Worthy, you feel me? See what he can do against Insomniacs 3-on-1. Baby Joker, you feel me? So I'm excited overall.
And more pack money.
Just to be able to watch the game. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, you feel me? So both teams have an amazing group of guys. You feel me? Some outstanding talent. Both 3-on-1s are still ass. I'm still gonna include that, but overall offensive defense, you feel me? I feel like they both have you know, something to do. So I'm excited overall just to watch the game, fellas, you know, in reality.
Brother, that's actually a good point. That will be interesting to see that. And Bino just said he wants their best corner.
For what?
So Bino is calling out the best corner on the BIC. Bino says he wants that smoke.
He don't. Bino, relax, big dog. Why don't you take like the best linebacker or something? I mean, you see what they 6'8"
Live with
person
25,
did.
never
They
at a
6'8"
loss
person
for
is ass.
words.
He got to the half-yard line, fumbled, missed the tackle. So whoever got to line up against him, I feel like they might have a little field day. And y'all better send 4 the whole game, because if y'all send 3, it's over. Just like this play right here, you got to send 2, and look what this man did. Just took it right up the gut. Yeah, so
Bino
I'm about to get
just
up out of
said
here.
he wants the best corner, Knox. So he
Hey.
Bino really wants to
Do it.
smoke. But no, 2-5.
You know, do what you do, big dog.
We appreciate you coming on. Like I said, continuous prayers.
Definitely.
Good to see you, 2-5 again. Continuous prayers to you and the family. All right.
We love you, baby.
Hey, love y'all too, man. I'll call you, Derek. You already know.
All right, that was
Dub,
2-5 checking in. All right, that was 2-5 checking in. So now, real quick, quickly, as we're going to pause the championship game real quick, and we're going to go to the tail of the tape for the Insomniacs and the BIC. We will, no, you just want to pause it. And now we're going to add this to the stage, folks, as I put together a little slide here brought to you by yours truly. I actually did this at work while working, so there you go. Little PowerPoint presentation.
Yo, we got jobs out here in Vegas.
And we actually do have 9 to 5s. I know you are, Jay. It's good to see you, buddy. All right, so here we go. Of course, again, championship game coming up this Sunday. Again, the Insomniacs and the BIC. Again, throw-off is scheduled for 4 Eastern, 1 Pacific on ASNFL.TV. Obviously, it's the BIC going up against the Insomniacs. Of course, we know the BIC is the Eastern Conference champions. And here's what they went through. They had a 6-0 regular season. Overall, their record is 9-0. And 2 times they have won the championship back in 2016 and in 2022 as they look to join the Patterson U to be the other 3-time champions in this league. Here was their playoff run back on the 9th in the quarterfinals. They pitched a shutout against the Renegades, 44-0. And then as we talked about, the Silk City Animals hit them with everything but the kitchen sink as BIC got by with an 80-68 victory in the semifinals on the 23rd of June. And on July 7th, they handled business against the U 56-32 in the conference finals to get to another championship game setting for the BIC. Of course, as we know, they'll be taking on the defending national champions and back-to-back Western Conference champions, the Insomniacs. The Insomniacs regular season went 6-1, but the overall record is 8-1, of course. They won the Natty a season ago, looking to join the Patterson U as the only other team to go back-to-back in the league's history. Of course, they beat the Force 34-6 in the conference semifinals back on June 9th and took care of business against Sequid at 56-36. But here's the tail of the tape on stats. As you see, the regular season stats and the playoff stats. BIC averaging 52 innocents, 53 points a game, while only giving up 20 a game. The Insomniacs averaging 50 and giving up 17. But in the playoffs, BIC averaging 60, the Insomniacs 45, but the BIC giving up almost 33.5 a game to the Insomniacs 21. Now, something while you were in the bathroom, Derek, that 2-5 mentioned was intriguing. My bad. He had to go pay the water bill, folks. But one thing intriguing that he talked about possibly was the possible matchup if Dave Valley is on defense going up against Kenny Mack. How do you see that matchup of those two fine specimen at lineman?
I hope BIC does that as a Vegas supporter because that will be a waste of Dave Valley's effort. They will be evenly matched, and he will be then playing both sides of the ball. So when AJ and Chris and the plethora of guys from the Insomniacs are going across his face on the offensive side, he will have lost a step, and then I get my push-ups out of K-Wax. So please, 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 Dave Valley, play defensive line all fucking game so I can get my push-ups out of K-Wax and we can walk with this 25K.
But if Dave Valley is on the offensive line, he's got big Chris Cunningham staring him in the face in the middle. How do you look at that matchup?
Now, that's one that I'd like to not talk about, but since you called me out, I'm gonna say it. No. Look, when it comes time to breaking down film and talking about what's really going to happen in this game, I have to be real. Dave Valley wins that battle 95% of the time. He's got the feet, he's got the arm strength, but there's that 5% that will affect this game, and Chris will get loose, especially if Valley is trying to play both sides of the ball. That's going to drop to 85%, and this game is over. Now, if he's going against AJ, I think it drops another 5% for his ability because AJ's got a quicker first step. AJ can get upfield and come back. AJ can get outside and affect the game in a different way than Chris can. He's probably 2-3 of a second faster on the get on the get off than Chris as far as upfield. Chris is more powerful in the chest, but Dave's too big for both of them. So the bull rush is rarely going to work against Dave unless you hit and spin and draw the hold. So that's what I'm going to recommend for our guys to do every time. Engage, then pull away. So you see that jersey pull, because they're not going to call that hold until they see the jersey pull. So you got to engage and pull away.
Well, Munchie is going in. First, you said, you mean to tell me they took all this, I guess he's trying to say cash or trash, and we about to have the same number of rings. Don says, you are really confident, Mr. Shuford. Don, I can answer that for him. Yes, he is. Oh, that's D1. Oh, Dewan. He is. I can answer that for you. I can answer that for him. He is. He also says, Derek, you're off your fucking rocker. And D1 says, Derek, what you drinking? I want some. And I like apple of Crown. Shoof Munchie just says Chris is probably top 2 defensive lineman in this league.
AJ's number 1. I agree, and AJ's number 1, but AJ's got a faster step, and Dave Valley is as good as Kenny Mack at the offensive line position. And I don't know how it gets down in practice, but what I see on the field, when I see AJ and Chris go up against top guys like Seau and guys like that, they're not as effective as they are against the other guys who are just good in our league. The guys who are great, it's an even match, which means they get loose 2 or 3 times a game, not 2 or 3 times a series.
D1, I agree. Crown apple is crack. Absolutely. All right. Munchie respectfully disagrees. Will Franklin says Valley is fucking scary. I agree 1,000%, Munchie. He's not Mac. I'm not going to argue that. And here comes that infamous brother once again saying that Sterry is the first mobile quarterback the Insomniacs will see this year. I'll let an Insomniac respond to that. There you have it.
You know, like they didn't play Kamari Michael and G. Hurd and
Deion
Fox all season. Like, that's not top level in this league doesn't watch film. I'm putting you all on blast right now. You all suck at watching film, because if you did, you would not make these bullshit comments on my podcast. So get your education up and then come back and see me.
And here's Munchie's response. It doesn't matter. We play the best mobile quarterback in the league. D1 says they're not Sterry, though.
Look, Dewan, you're right. For my money, Sterry is the second best player in this league. It goes Kenny Mack, Sterry Codrington, Dave Valley. That is straight. Sterry is the best mobile quarterback in this league right now. He is Quattro Huffin 3 years ago without the injuries. Great in the pocket, great out of the pocket. Not as great on the move throwing the ball as Quattro Huffin, but as a runner and as a thrower, he has to be respected like a guy named Mike Vick. Except for Mike Vick could throw on the run. We have not seen Sterry throw on the run very much. So when Sterry cuts loose, he's a runner, and that's what happens.
Okay, Munchie just said that Sterry ain't never been hit the way he's going to get his on Sunday. And then he also says, Derek, you lying. Sterry ain't back way.
Munch, how many sacks did the Insomniacs have versus Sterry? Versus Bagway?
Well, there's some there is some competition going on between D1 and Munchie here in the chat. Coach James says, Derek, stop. Those guys aren't the same as Sterry. Okay. Coach Brown says enough. D1 says Kenny Mack is ass respectively. Okay.
D1, you just officially lost your black card or your football card. You need to go away. If you say Kenny Mack is ass, you've never watched a single coach's film in your entire life on anything. So your opinion is no longer going to be evaluated on this podcast.
Mick Willie, good to see you. He says enough to win the game, Derek.
How many? What number?
He wants an actual number. So if anybody can get the actual number of how many, well, I know AJ had one, so we know one's out there for sure. There you go. But I guess my question would be, what's the one matchup that you really are looking forward to see just as a football fan, not as a division owner, but as a football fan? What's the one match?
So we mentioned number one, the Insomniacs D line, whoever they match up against, Dave Valley, K-Wack if he plays offense, and vice versa. I am very, very interested in seeing how the BIC defensive line stacks up against the Insomniacs. I don't think that they are anywhere near as good as a pass rush compared to how the Insomniacs O-line performs, but they will get in there. And when they do, they're going to meet the biggest, strongest man they've ever seen at quarterback and try to get him down with their little asses. So when Scooter falls forward and then keeps going and runs over 3 or 4 dudes, that'll be something that they've never experienced before in a mobile quarterback who can throw the ball. So I'm just waiting for that to happen a couple times. I'm super excited to see Ashanti Worthy against, we'll say, Shadow on the 3-on-1, or against Cody Johnson on the 3-on-1, or against the whole 3-on-1 coverage team. Yeah. I'm super interested to see if BIC can contain the returners from the Insomniacs, because we got 3 super, super solid returners. I think the most exciting thing, though, I besides the D-line, because the D-line D-line O-line thing is what I'll be watching the majority of the game. But outside of that, I cannot wait to see Ashanti Worthy versus Daniel Lyons. Like the probably the best offensive weapon in the league versus the best defensive weapon in the league are going to be playing each other in prime time championship game form. We haven't seen much of anything like that. I think the closest thing I saw, shout out to the DB who used to play for the BIC, and I think if he was there this year, and I'm very disappointed in our Vegas guys for talking shit about them the way he did. I can't remember the guy's name, but he had a bald head and had no eyebrows. I can't remember his name right now, but he was literally the best defender I've seen in A7 football. He was long and fast and strong. They tested him 3 or 4 times when the Force played him, and everybody tried to test him in every game after that, and he stood up to the task. Can't remember old boy's name right now. It'll come to me in a minute, but he's the best defender I've seen. Just imagine Daniel Lyons about 6 inches taller on defense, able to track down every ball, not afraid to tackle, put his nose in. That dude was special, and he retired last season.
Well, they answered your question. Coach James said they had 3 on Bagway. So there's that question answered. Brother again says Scooter will be the slowest quarterback BIC has ever faced.
Oh, my bad. Did BIC not play the Snow Tribe this year?
They did.
Then he's not the slowest quarterback he ever faced. And look, he'll also be the strongest quarterback they ever faced. So slow is not, and Scooter's not slow. So you're wrong. Let's put it that way. He's not shifty, but he's definitely not slow.
Mr. Bell says Pac 3-on-1 guy. And Travis from experience says Travis from experience.
Olajuwon Bell, Ole Bell said pack money. He said 3-on-1.
Okay. All right. So Travis from experience in the footage that you're seeing right now, Scooter moves pretty well, not gonna lie.
Yeah. So if I'm gonna give an NFL comp to Scooter, he's Ben Roethlisberger is how he's shifty in the pocket. And when he takes off to run, he's like Elway. you don't want to meet him in the middle of the pocket because he will run your ass over when you're not expecting it.
And Chris McWillie says, tell them don't try to fight us when we're moving. They're supposed to be the brothers in Christ. Yes, their name is the Trenton Brothers in Christ, the BIC. That is their actual team name. D1 says, Derek, make sure you're on the sideline because your face gonna be priceless.
D1, you see this film that is showing on our screen right now? It will cut to my face on several occasions. You just watch how priceless my face is. I'll be there for that. I got mad respect for BIC, but I do think the Insomniacs will win this game. I'm not saying they're going to win by a lot, but I think the dog in the Insomniacs at the talent level is slightly better for the Insomniacs across the board and for depth, but the dog in the Insomniacs is that much better. That's my opinion. And if I'm wrong, I'll be proven wrong, but I plan to be smiling at the end of that game.
Well, again, it will take place on this upcoming Sunday, July the 21st in Asbury Park, New Jersey, to culminate and celebrate the 10th anniversary season of the American Sevens Football League. Again, it is the reigning defending champions, the Las Vegas Insomniacs, looking to join the Patterson U as the only other team to repeat in this league against the Trenton BIC. The Trenton BIC looking to join the U as three-time ASNFL champions and winning their first since 2022. A lot will be said, but now, in the famous words of Mills Lane, it is finally time to get it on, and they will, as throw-off is scheduled for 4 p.m. Eastern, 1 Pacific, of course. You can catch the action on ASNFL.tv with Matt Ryan, Corey Hammond, and Rob Fabian on the call this upcoming Sunday. Yes, sir.
Look, Zaza, shout out. He called out. It's Ricky Tate. Thank you very much for bringing that to my attention. The DB for BIC that retired this season. It was Ricky Tate. Thank you, Travis. And then I want to address Kenny Stanberry's comment. I wonder how the West Coast is going to feel about their team losing by 20. I said, Kenny, I know you've got a time machine and you're talking about a game that's going to happen in 2090 because that shit ain't happening this year.
And also, Will Franklin says, Scooter is hardly slow. Again, Travis giving the name of the retired lineman. And brother says, BIC won't quit on each other like sick. Will be a good game. And Will Franklin says, the humidity is going to win.
We'll say that overall heat.
That too. Because, I mean, obviously the weather will be a factor as it stands.
What time does the sun go down in New Jersey?
Hold on. Let me...
I can look it up. It's not something we can talk about.
Well, I actually have it saved on both. So, Sunday, it is supposed to be 83 degrees.
83 degrees is a high?
83 degrees as a high on Sunday.
It don't matter. 83 and humid means overcast in Asbury Park.
Well, the humidity will be 74 degrees. And the dew point will be 65 to 68 degrees during throw-off in Asbury Park. But it's supposed to be cloudy, so it'll be sunny on Friday, cloudy on Saturday and Sunday, and then, I mean, there were some rain that did fall in Philadelphia.
Stevie Dyson, as Cleavon says, they might want to bring him out of retirement, Derek. I will say for you, because you know better than most, he is the only person I have seen in A7FL football who might be able to lock up Davik. We don't want that. Luckily, he retired, and the BIC is who they are. They have a stacked team, a super team, as they were calling us last season. They got the best of everybody that was available that they can get their hands on. They were a super team before. They're more of a super team now, and we don't care. Like, the Insomniacs are just that good. Vegas is just that good, and Insomniacs are representing the best of what we bring to the table.
And the quarterback just said, we play in Florida every year. Nothing we ain't used to.
Scooter, it's going to be 82 degrees, man. That's a vacation. Like we're going to be kicking it in New Jersey. I can't wait for Saturday night and the turn up. This is going to be fun.
Jay Clutch just said, I can't believe the Watchmen were compared to OTT WTF.
And I say I can't believe the Watchmen think they're on OTT's level.
And Dyson says lockup is crazy. Well, folks. Scotty says humidity is what I was talking about. I am excited too. And Davik just said, I know you ain't just say that BS, Derek. Your response?
Vic, I'm sorry. That's step number one. But let me just say, Ricky Tate is that dude, man. I've seen that dude ball out. He's probably a 4.3.5, 4.4 guy. Great closing speed, not afraid to tackle. The fact that I said he will lock you up, I take that back. I will say he will be the best coverage you've ever had in your life in A7. I've not seen all your flag games or wherever else you played, but I will say as far as A7 guys go, if he was in this league, he will have covered you better than anyone else ever has in this league.
Coach Brown might channel his inner DMX and wear his Timbs. Elijah Bell says Vegas just played in 180 degrees. They ain't worried about Asbury. Like I said, channeling his inner DMX. Dyson says I got to pack my jacket. Davik says even off injury, you're crazy. Munchie. No, he's not. You're acting like a nut base to Derek, whatever that means. Okay.
Well, go back and watch the tape. 2022 BIC versus the Force, BIC versus everybody that season, and watch Ricky Tate's game. You guys will change your tune if you watch film, and I know you guys do, but I'm positive you haven't watched those games. Ricky Tate was that dude. He was Asante Samuel, long, rangy, fast, closing speed, everything that you want in a DB. I'm not saying he would have Davik on lock. I would take that statement back, but he would have seen an A7, period. Final thoughts. Look. Oh man, I'm just swinging my nuts out there. Insomniacs by 2 scores. These guys, I got them. I got everybody there. I booked all their flights. As long as they don't miss their flights, and everybody's showing up on Saturday early. So we got all day and all afternoon to get ready for this game. I have faith in my guys. 35 on 35. Ain't nobody beating these Insomniacs. I don't care who you bring to the game in A7 NFL football. You can restack your roster with every NFL player that's available. But in this A7 game, 35 on 35, your best versus our best. Insomniacs are winning this shit. I will say potentially, my bet is going to be by 2 scores.
Well, we always talk about styles making fights, and definitely styles will make fights. But again, as we say, we always talked about hypotheticals. What would happen if this team plays that team, and we finally get to see it come into fruition this upcoming Sunday? No, we are not flying into Newark, and thanks for the information. Don't stay at the Riviera Hotel. Thanks for that info. Nonetheless, Coach James says Asante Samuel was his own player.
Asante Samuel Jr.
Oh, he does play in the NFL. Coach Brown says, after talking like this, you still said us by 2 scores. Hashtag sell them tickets. But for me, just intrigued by actually, for the first time in my life, actually being in the Eastern time zone in the U.S. So interesting to looking for that flight, and just interesting just to see the pageantry and the pomp and circumstance of championship weekend all coming together. This is my second championship game that I will see live in person, and hopefully it can surpass what happened last year, because the Insomniacs and the Nightcrawlers gave us a fantastic championship game. I'm not expecting anything less with the BIC and the Insomniacs. It should be fantastic. Both teams are very deep. Both teams have depth. But, I mean, we saw what happened last year when the Insomniacs faced adversity down 12 and they forced turnovers and ended up winning the game. I think the one X factor for me is the fact that last year it was all RTC. RTC does not have to carry the load by himself in the run game because he has Juice and he has Devontae.
Look out for RTC defense. He might be there.
He might play on the D line also. So they're. Oh, you will. Okay, well there's that. Munchie, since you're here, I just gotta ask, how many arrows will you be shooting on Sunday? Give me an over/under if you're still listening, Munchie. Just give me an over/under on how many arrows you plan on shooting on Sunday. But nonetheless, special thanks to the head of officiating in the Ace NFL, Will Franklin, for coming on and bringing down his thoughts and what he's looking forward to seeing and the groundwork for this upcoming Sunday. Special thanks to that's a good question, Mr. Branch. One thing we can say, Mr. Preston will be the white cap on Sunday, and Shuford says, honestly, just one. All right. Well, there you go. All right. At the scoreboard. Okay. No, I told him how many times will he shoot the arrow on Sunday, because last year he shot the arrow twice, scoring. And he says he's going golfing once we win. All right. But nonetheless, catch all the action on acefnfl.tv at 4 p.m. Eastern, 1 Pacific on Sunday. If you would like to, go ahead. He says, now we'll read it for the fans watching and listening. He says, after we win, we need to set up the best 4 from the East versus the best 4 from the West. Go ahead.
So Kenny Stansberry, thanks for bringing that up. We don't want to wait till you guys win, because we don't want to wait for 2028 for that shit to come together. So besides that, I really want next season for this to happen. If not next season, the season after that. And we as a league, we as players, we as coaches, we as captains, we as organizers need to sit down and talk after this season. I'm hoping I have your attention and the attention of all the captains in the East and the attentions of all the captains in Ohio and Florida and Vegas and LA, where we can all come together and have a legit conversation about what it is we really want from this league as owners, as captains, as players, as teams, and what we're willing to sacrifice to get us there. I know that what it's going to take is every player in this league to be re-promoting the things we do to draw attention to this league. We've got 30-ish players on every team. At one time there was 34 teams by my math. That's in the neighborhood of 1,000 players. And if 1,000 people are posting about something and sharing about something, it's going to get noticed nationwide. So until that moment happens, and until you captains, until you coaches get your guys to do that shit, it will remain right where it's at. But when we all come together and use the league and show the world who we are and do what's necessary, that's just not going to happen unless somebody in our midst goes and finds us a sponsor. So your choices are: get your guys motivated to care about us and share us, or get your guys to go out and find us a sponsor. It's that simple.
Well, with that said, we looking forward to seeing you all out there in Asbury Park and coming out to the stadium and enjoying this fantastic game that we think it is going to be between the BIC and the Insomniacs, as the Insomniacs looking to repeat and joining the U as the only other team to repeat, or the BIC trying to win the championship for the 3rd time in their franchise history. It all will take place in Asbury Park on July 21st, this upcoming Sunday. Again, throw off a schedule for 4 p.m. Eastern, 1 Pacific in Asbury Park, New Jersey. But for now, we will say so long. We will see you next week for episode 95. And by that time, we will have crowned a champion. Again, special thanks to Will Franklin. Special thanks to Live with 25. Knox, we're praying for you For Derek Duncan, I'm Double A. We will see you in Asbury Park, New Jersey this Sunday, and we'll see you on the other side of the ball. Take care of yourself and each other.